Ellis Bobs, and I'm the Education Manager for Room 217. And as you know, this is our webinar series. And today we are thrilled to have Bev Foster, the Executive Director and the founder of Room 217, walk us through quality improvement through the Music Care Certify. And we're absolutely thrilled to have Bev as our host today. But before we start, just a couple housekeeping items. Number one is actually a shout out or a thank you to the George Lunan Foundation. It's because of their generous support that we're able to offer the webinar series to everyone. So a special thank you to George Lunan Foundation. A couple housekeeping items is that we'll have everybody keep their cameras off and stay muted while Bev is presenting. And she may have a couple spots in the presentation where she would like to ask some questions and get some feedback. And you can either, if you feel comfortable, if you want to unmute yourself and put your camera on when she prompts for questions, you may do so. Or you can always just type them into the chat box and I'll facilitate the questions for you on your behalf. And at the beginning of our webinar series, I always take a moment or two to talk about the exciting things happening at Room 217. And so today, March 9th, we have Quality Improvement through Music Care Certify with Bev. But in April, we have Musical Breath, Singing for Health and Lung Health with a music therapist from the UK, Emily Folks. And she's going to walk us through a pretty exciting webinar that also will include some practical tips and tricks. And since October, you may have been hearing us talk about the rebranding into our 3 pillars of music care, one being the app, Connect app, and Learn. And today, Bev is going to do an in-depth dive into the Certified program. So I'd just like to take a moment today to focus on Learn. Of course, anybody that accesses one of our 8 programs, which includes webinar, you're accessing or you're part of our learning community, but you can also be a member to this learning community. And I'll talk in a moment about the benefits, but the Learn platform it's a hub, and you can learn from experts in an inclusive environment. As you know, it's open to everyone. And in the membership, you get access to conferences, training, virtual learning studio, the webinars, speakers, skills day, resources, and masterclass. And I just want to pause. And you'll see that conferences is highlighted. We are thrilled to announce that we will be holding and hosting a music care conference in the fall in BC, but it will be hybrid in nature, a hybrid model. So by the April webinar, we should have a date for you, and we will have a date for you of when that is. And so you can access Learn in a pay-as-you-go format, or if you become a member, you will get 30% discount on all learning, an annual subscription to the Connect app, which is in itself $9.99 a month, 3 90-minute masterclasses, and 1 masterclass that's a half day, and a 15% discount on all store purchases. And so an update on our music care training, we always let people know when our next offerings are, and we have level 1 on April 8th and 9th. We have level 2 coming up on March 24th and 25th. So we're taking submissions for people to apply for the level 1 or 2. And level 3 is April 25th to June 6th. And so a little bit about Bev and the presentation today. As you know, Bev is the founder and the executive director of Room 217 Foundation, a Canadian organization dedicated to music and care. She is an experienced musician who speaks and writes extensively on the power of music, especially in life-limiting situations. Her passion for music enhancing quality of life is extremely contagious. Music Care Certify, the topic of discussion today, is a groundbreaking program and the first in Canada to recognize excellence in the use and delivery of music and care using a quality lens. In this webinar, Room 217 founder, Bev, is going to describe the 3 types of certification included in Music Care Certify, which is, of course, Certify for individuals, organizations, and products and services. So now, over to Bev.
Well, thanks so much, Dawn. Appreciate your leadership in the webinars and overall in our education program here at Room 217. And Tanya, thanks so much for your tech support today. And hello, everybody. I'm really pleased to be with you. Most years in the webinar series, someone from our team, and it's often me, but not always me, we do present on a project or a program that we're working on at the Room 217 Foundation. So I'm really delighted to be able to present to you today one of perhaps our most significant program that our team at Room 217 has been working on now for a number of years, called MusicCare Certify. And it's significant, MusicCare Certify, because it will raise the standard of music care delivery as it recognizes excellence through a quality lens. Now, MusicCare Certify is an umbrella program with 3 unique certification programs for individuals, organizations, products, and services. It's really built on the premise of 2 main ideas. The first idea is that music makes life better. And this has been true in my life, and perhaps it's true for you too in your life, that music makes your life better. You know, just recently I've been moved deeply by our brothers and sisters in the Ukraine who have turned to music in their life-threatening situations for comfort and encouragement and solace. And maybe you've seen some of those postings on social media as well, but it's really quite moving. And even in these extreme circumstances, we see that people are turning to music to make their life better. The other key idea, or the other second idea that Certify is based on, is that music is a care modality. You know, we may know this experientially, even intuitively, yet science has now shown how true this is. And if you are part of this webinar series on a regular basis, you will have heard from expert presenters how sound and music are used as legitimate and effective treatment modalities and can help achieve better health outcomes. We know that music enhances quality of life measures, improves quality of care, and is cost effective. Music as care now has become pretty universally accepted. In this time together today, I will walk you through the core elements of MusicCare Certify. And we're going to explore each type of certification, and that's what Dawn was referring to. At the end of individual, I'm going to pause for some questions, and then we'll move to organization. And then at the end of organization, I'll pause for some questions, move towards products and services, and again, pause for some questions, as they're each just a little bit different, and you may have very specific questions. I want to also differentiate between these 2 uses of the words music and care. So when music care is one word, bolded or multicolored, this refers to our brand, MusicCare by Room 217. So this is our programming that is uniquely offered by the Room 217 Foundation. When music care is 2 separate words, this refers to the music care approach, and the approach being that we can all use music intentionally for a health and wellness outcome for ourselves or in the care of others. So I hope that distinction is helpful as we move through these slides. So let's begin with the Certify architecture, how we built the program. There's really 8 core elements, and these elements are the same through the 3 different types, but they are expressed differently. There's different content, I guess you could say, in each of the types of certification. But nonetheless, these are the structural components upon which the program is built. So for example, recognition tiers. These are levels of achievement that demonstrate a standard of music care delivery. Quality drivers are the primary elements that create and maintain a standard of music care delivery. The success criteria are measurable elements which demonstrate understanding and application of music care delivery, and they fall out of the quality drivers. The factors for success have come from evidence we've collected from the groundwork we've done over the past 10 years to be ready for Certify, and they are predictors of music care success. The Music Care Portal is an online gateway to all that you need for your certification journey. Requirements, toolkits, validation, documentation, all of it is accessible and stored online through this interactive portal. Quality frameworks refer to the processes, the competencies, the requirements that support the quality lens. And so each type of certification uses a particular quality framework. As well, there are learning opportunities embedded in the certification process, including quarterly masterclasses and peer meetups. And the registry is an online profile of each individual, organization, product, or service that becomes certified. And it is located on the musiccare.org website. I'm hoping at the end we'll have time to take a look at that. Now, no matter what type of certification you achieve, Room 217 will provide these benefits to you. You become profiled on the Music Care Registry. And again, I'll show you exactly what that looks like closer to the end here. You actually get a Music Care Learn membership as part of Certify, which in the certification case includes 50% off the various trainings. Dawn mentioned them at the beginning, the online studio, other training, the conference. If you purchase any of our products in store, you get 15% off. And as well, you get a subscription. It might be individual or team, depending on what your certification type is, to Music Care Connect for 1 full year. And I already referred to the master classes and meetups. So those are benefits no matter what type of certification. Now I'd like to take a little dive now, a deep dive into each of the types of certification. And we're going to start with Music Care Certify for individuals. And this is the pathway for integrating music into your own unique caregiving practice. You know, it's the gap we've seen is the lack of training for caregivers to use music in their regular practice. And it's felt acutely by some people. So for example, recreation therapists and activation professionals often, once they get in a place of employment, they often, by the roles of what they do, leading programs, they're often leading music programs. And they've told me they have 0 hours of music training to do it. And so the need then becomes this baseline music training for all care workers that will promote confidence and effective, responsible music delivery. And so we're providing a solution for this, and that is Music Care Certification for individuals, where you become, the designation is a certified music care advocate. I should say the recognition is a music care advocate. That's what you're called. Now, for individual certification, the quality framework that we use, or the curriculum that where the training comes from, is a quality development competency framework. And this particular framework is an educational framework designed to teach and evaluate the skills, knowledge, and attributes necessary for leadership and advocating for quality music care in any care practice. It's all about competency-based learning, which is an approach used in educational settings to guide students towards the desired learning outcomes. And these learning outcomes are observable and demonstrable and must be mastered before a student can advance. So if you're unable to complete a competency requirement, then the student is encouraged to focus on developing the skills necessary rather than retaking the course. So competency-based education is based on 3 ingredients: knowledge, the understanding part; behaviors, the overt behavioral part; and values, the beliefs and attitudes part. Now, each of the requisite success criteria falls from one of the 6 quality drivers. And these are the 6 quality drivers for individual certification: foundations, musical elements, effects, strategies, advocacy, and technology. So for example, the success criteria, which are the measurable components, are linked to these drivers. So for example, success criteria 1.2 is linked to foundations, where the skill is that you have to be able to differentiate 10 domains of music care, for example. Or another one, 4.4, coming out of strategies, where you use songs intentionally for care goals. And in the individual certification, there are a total of 37 of these success criteria that correspond to these 6 quality drivers. Now, what's the process? What does it look like? What do you actually have to do to become certified as an individual? Well, here we are right here. We're discovering all about it today, and that's really the first part, is the discovery phase. If after today you're sort of going, boy, I'd really like to do this, I think this is something I'd like to go after, then you then go into the train phase of the process. And you have to complete all 3 levels 1, 2, and 3 of our standardized training in this part. Typically, it will take 6 months. It depends how you plan it and pace it, but we are trying to have a level 1, a level 2, and a level 3 in every quarter of the year, so that there should be something, and Dawn's already shown you just in the next 6 or 8 weeks, maybe not even that long, in the next 6 weeks, all of these are being offered. And of course, you have to take them 1 as a prerequisite to 2 as a prerequisite to 3, etc. Once you've completed your training, you are then eligible to apply for certification. And at this point, there's a 3-part assessment that you have to complete. And once that's complete and it's evaluated and you're successful, then you may become certified. And the 2 weeks is just for us to actually review the your assessments and that sort of thing. And then you become certified. Now that certification lasts for 1 year. And during that year, there's what we call the grow phase. And in this process, there's abundant opportunities for continued support and learning. And then you can recertify after that. In terms of support tools, oh yeah, I just wanted to, let me just show you this little line here, because we can't emphasize this enough. You actually have to finish this first before you apply for certification. You can't just go in and apply. This must be completed. Yeah, there's several key support tools in this program. The first is the curriculum, and this is a standardized curriculum that we've been using since 2014. It's been used by now over 2,000 people in Canada and the UK for training, and it's been I guess you could say graphically transformed for Certify. And it's beautiful student manuals and that are all available here on the portal. And this is what the portal looks like. So you can sort of see at the top, there's the train and apply and certify. You can see here the various curriculum, what you have to do in terms of the steps, level 1, level 2, and 3, etc. Here are some, here's a screenshot here of what it would look like to take one of the quizzes within the training, etc. So you can see the portal is all set up for that interactivity. We have expert instructors and mentors that you will thoroughly enjoy. And then the other key support tools are, we have experientials that are, written out in this curriculum that you can use as models. And more than anything, in and during the training, you actually experience them yourself, which is always very strong in training. So those are the key support tools. In terms of, I would say the key feature of Music Care Certify for individuals is the Music Care Initiative. And this is a music-based solution developed by you to address a specific care need in your context of care. And the Music Care Initiative, we call it an MCI, that begins in level 1. So you start it there as one of the strategies, you develop it more and more through level 2, and then we hope that you will have realized it by level 3 in the training. Now there's a number of benefits to becoming Music Care Certified or becoming a Music Care Advocate. First is that you'll learn how to deliver more relational care. We talk so much about this. Patient-centered, person-centered care. Yet it's really hard to find something that's tangibly, truly that person-centered. And music care can be completely customized, completely person-centered to the preferences and the responses to the person. So that's one benefit. It really does give you that kind of person-centered care approach. You will develop music care competencies. Remember, you don't have to be a musician to develop these competencies to start with. It's training, it's an inclusive training. You can come just as you are and learn some of those music care skills and competencies through the training. Certainly, you may be able to use this training for continuing education hours and CEUs that you may need to have for your professional practice. So it's, you really consider this as an investment in your own practice. There's no question this is the #1 outcome of the training for Music Care Certify, and that is confidence building and just that responsible and effective use of music in care. We've seen as well with the individuals that are certified that care outcomes are improved, particularly around quality of life indicators. This, gives, you have this additional certification that might actually give you an extra employment edge through the recognition and differentiation that certification brings. And that's not, I'm just going to say that's not actually mythical. In fact, I know recently I was talking with an administrator who hired a chaplain for their long-term care because she had music care training. So that differentiated her from the pack. And from an administrator's perspective, she was looking for that kind of differentiating factor as she was hiring a chaplain. And then, of course, the use of music for self-care, the musical strategies you learn as you become certified, you can practice not only with others, but also you can use the strategies for your own particular self-care. So there's lots of benefits. And here are the first 5 people that have become individually certified. The program began in the fall. And you can see just from these folks that are certified, the various backgrounds. One's a human service worker in New Brunswick. One is a program coordinator in an adult day program in Oakville. Another one is a recreation therapist with the Alzheimer's Society in Sault Ste. Marie. Another one is a special education teacher in Toronto, and another one is a music educator and creator of Hello Music in Calgary. So there's various, you can see the scope of and range of people interested in taking, in becoming music care advocates. And you'll find, if we can go here at the end, I'm going to show you where these people live on the registry, but you'll find it at musiccare.org. Now, the burning question, I think, and maybe you're asking it, I'm certainly asking it of you today, are you ready to certify? Is this something you're going, oh, I'm really interested in this? It's a readiness piece though. And so the first thing I want to sort of say is, who are you? Who can be certified? And really any individual can be certified, but we're the people that, as we've just shown you, that, and particularly the people that have taken our training, which is leads up to certification, are generally speaking care providers. So allied care professionals, rec therapists, occupational therapists, audiologists we've had, activationists, PSWs, you know, people who are frontline care workers, as well as volunteer caregivers and family caregivers. We often have musicians as well that that have taken our training. We haven't had any, well, we've had some amateur musicians certify. Some of the people I just showed you do music kind of not necessarily for their living, but for or they may be semi-professional. But we're hoping a number of musicians will want to be certified so that they can up the quality of their delivery in care settings. Teachers, you saw 2 teachers that were certified, and there may be others. So these are the kinds of people that are getting certified. Maybe that's you, maybe you can identify there, or you identify under other. But we've also found that these factors are pretty good indicators of whether you're ready. Do you initiate and try new things? Are you creative? Do you practice a person-centered approach to care, a relational approach to care? Do you feel sure of yourself and your scope of practice? Are you confident? Are you highly motivated to deliver on a new project? Are you engaged? Do you appreciate music's capacity to enhance health and well-being? Are you the kind of person that's values driven? Do the people around you back your use of music care? Do you have support? And if you have said yes, I would say to 4 of the 6 of those questions, or if you could identify with 4 of those factors, then you're probably ready to become, or to start on the road of music care certification. So your next step would be to complete the 3 levels of training, which are done synchronously online. And here are the dates of the upcoming classes. And you can register today for that. And, you know, maybe you're saying, well, actually, I've already done level 2. So I would say complete level 3, and then you can apply to become, you know, you have to, as we saw, you have to still go through the assessment for certification, but you've done all the prerequisite training for that. So that's available now. You could register online at musiccare.org. So I'm going to pause right at the moment and just see if there are any questions around individual certification.
Hi, Bev. Thanks for going over that. So again, if anybody feels like they have a question, you can unmute and turn your camera on, or you can send it to me through chat. Pretty exciting times, though. I think I love how music care Certify for Individuals is such a differentiator, especially from from a place of employment.
Are there any specific questions?
So there's one. What happens after the 1 year of certification? Right.
So there'll be a recertification process. And that will be, there'll be just a short assessment of some measure that, you know, we just want to be sure that you're still using the certification, that you're still, and music care is part of your practice. So then there's a recertification.
Excellent. Well, I think we can move on to organizations or products and services if you'd.
Okay, so that's what we shall do then. Let's move now into the Certify for organizations. And, you know, this is the pathway really for integrating and sustaining music in your care setting. What we found, you know, the gap that this program is trying to address is that whole idea of integrating and sustaining music in care settings so that it's not just this special thing, but it's happening on a day-to-day basis, and especially during weekends. I want to say that. You know, what happens, you know, when your expert leaves, when your music therapist, if you have a music therapist, what happens when their contract ends? What happens if the volunteer you've been depending on can't come, or they move, or when funding dries up for whatever program you've got funding, music program you've got funding for? The need really, as we see it, is for the staff teams of various care settings and organizations themselves to have the processes, skills, and accountabilities for the use of music in care. Of course, this is notwithstanding professional practice. It's not, the two can coexist. But if we're really going to sustain music in care, then care teams need to be trained and need to begin to integrate it into their own work day by day by day. And I would say that since the pandemic, there is this desperate need for meaningful psychosocial programming. So engagement that's pleasurable, relational, person-centered, and dignifying. And, you know, from our perspective, a solution for those needs is to become your organization, to become music care bronze, silver, that should say or, not of, or gold certified. Now, how does it work? How does this organization certification work? Well, we've used a quality framework that's really familiar in Canada and the US in healthcare called PDSA. The PDSA cycle is a model for quality improvement, and it uses 3 fundamental change questions. What are we trying to accomplish? How will we know that a change is an improvement? And what change can we make that will result in improvement? So that's the basic framework that we've actually woven into the organization's, I'll call it org certified process. Now, there are 5 quality improvement drivers in the org cert, and these again are measurable and demonstrable through the success criteria. So they are to demonstrate leadership, to promote a music-rich environment, to engage professional practitioners, to offer staff development opportunities, and to measure the effects of musical solutions. So the drivers are leadership, music-rich environment, professional practitioners, continuing education, and research. I'll phrase it that way, but those are the 5 drivers. And of course, they have success criteria, which fall right out of them. And this is interesting in CERT org, because one of the core values for us in this program is to be sure that it's equitable across the country, so that smaller communities, whether small means the size of the actual organization or smaller because they're in maybe remote areas, we want smaller communities to be able to succeed and to be able, if they want to be gold music care certified. So in this way, then, the success criteria are divided into required and desirable criteria. So I'll explain that in a second. But again, these are some of the examples of the success criteria. So for example, under leadership 1.1, a music care site team is in place. Under, sorry, this should be 3.1. That was a bit of a dyslexic moment. 3.1, music therapist or music care specialist provides 3 to 6 paid contact or consultative hours per week. So you'll notice that while we believe everybody can use music, this model still allows for professional practitioners. In fact, it doesn't even allow for, it is going to be required as one of the success criteria that you are bringing an expert on board in the team. So those are some examples of success criteria, but now let me show you about the levels. So there are 21 required criteria. So when you complete all the required criteria, that will give you bronze. So your organization would be certified bronze, music care bronze. Now, to achieve silver or gold recognition, then organizations choose from an additional 21 additional success criteria. But these criteria are points-based. So the required ones you don't get, they're required. But in silver and gold, you get lots and lots of choice, because this is where we can build in sort of the equal playing field. And to achieve silver, then you would choose the 15 points you're going to work for. And if you want gold, the organization, you choose the 30 points. So it makes it way more equitable. The process for org cert takes about 6 to 8 months to complete, and that's notwithstanding outbreaks. Yeah, I mean, it could take a bit longer if the pandemic restrictions occur again, but outbreaks are pretty typical in residential organizations, that's for sure. And so even with just your typical outbreak, which might last for 2 weeks, this can be done in 6 to 8 months. So here we are today at the beginning of a discovery process where we're dealing with some of your questions and perhaps the timeline, things you're interested in. And, you know, there's a little more to the discovery on this, but once your organization says yes, because today, for example, if you're interested in this and you want to learn more in the discovery, then we will start that discovery process with you. And then once you say yes, you move into the engage part of the process. And we engage in orientation with your site team leader and your site team. Then in the planning phase, this will include some training. It's not the standard training of the individuals, but it's a particular kind of training for the organizational certification. And then in the planning as well, you complete a pilot action research project where you use music as a solution to a care need, and you do it on a small scale, because this is where we follow the PDSA cycle of quality improvement. And in the planning, there's an analysis and a great deal of reflection by your team. And then you're ready to go into ACT, where you implement your action research project to scale. And then also during this time in ACT, and actually throughout this, you are uploading or filling in the validation documentation on the Music Care portal. And then once all of that is completed, all of these stages, we move into review. And we have a team of third-party assessors who will review the submission, and then the organization becomes certified at this point. We have a little celebration for that. And then that's a 2-year certification. Unlike the individual, which is 1 year, this lasts for 2 years. And there's a grow phase as well. We're going to keep supporting you through that, providing additional learning opportunities. and making sure that music care is still integrated and being used in your organization. Now, the key support tools for the org cert, each of the quality drivers, the 5 quality drivers, has an extensive toolkit. And in the toolkit, there's exemplars, background, tools for every success criteria, all of them in that quality driver. I've shown you already the portal for individual, but we use the same portal for the organizations. It looks a little bit different. The way we do this and present it, it's all done by driver here. But this is what it would look like on, this is what it does look like on the portal. And our beta testers have already been using this. And there's also a music care facilitator. So this is a Room 217 support person who will provide that kind of support and encouragement through the entire process. And then another key support tool is the training. And this 6-hour ready training is absolutely essential to the success of org cert. And then some of the key features of this certification. I've said about Music Care Ready training. Music Care Basic is a 15-minute video we've created. It's essentially a very user-friendly training that can be used also as promotional material in your care setting to really get people jazzed about the whole certification process. The CAP is very cool. It's a plan, we call it the Certified Action Plan, and it's really like a legacy portfolio of the most important pieces of the requirements or the success criteria. And in a sense, it gets sucked, it gets like this into one area on the portal, so that when you're finished certification, you've got that plan, and that will be used as the basis for recertification. As well, that CAP is shareable with a head office, or, you know, if you're a municipal care setting, or if you have a board of directors, if you're a community place, that can be shared with others. And then the MCARP is that Music Care Action Research Project. That's the piece, the thing that you're going to measure. And that's really the quality improvement aspect of this, the piece that you're going to actually evaluate and measure. So those are some of the real key features. In terms of the benefits for organizations, well, really, you are meeting that pervasive post-COVID need and enriching meaning, quality of life. And it's a priority for your organization. For sure, this is got benefits for everybody in the circle of care. It simply deepens care relationships. We did a pre-certified program for 3 years in 29 long-term care homes, and every single home, this was one of the key impacts, that the care relationships, not just between, don't misunderstand me, this is not just between the frontline workers and, say, residents or patients, but it was between staff members or between family and staff. Like it was really deepened relationships within the circle of care, strengthens the team approach to care. Everybody has a voice and a role to play in the certification process. And it broadens the opportunities for equity, diversity, and inclusion in so many ways. Music can do this, but with this really, with this so processed and so accountable, I guess you could say, the opportunities really become broader. And we know too that because we're using practices and organizational practices and process that are safe and effective, this is going to improve high quality care delivery. It expands integrated services, and it certainly expands professional practice. Professional practice is one of the 5 quality drivers. So we are, again, we're encouraging everybody in the circle of care to be involved, but we are actually making it a requirement to have a professional practitioner. You know, we know that music is just one of those pathways, especially in post-COVID recovery, that can boost morale and the mental health of staff. In fact, our beta testers, that's the reason they have actually been beta testing with us, because they needed something that would actually boost that morale. So, you know, one of the benefits is an improved, healthy, and competent workforce. And certainly quality improvement is, we know in long-term care with the new standards coming, quality improvement is going to be one of those standards. And so people are going to be looking for augmenting quality improvement kinds of programs. And so, you know, this is a QI program using a very recognized model. So is your organization ready to certify? Let's see, who are you? What organization are you? So, you know, I would say residential care settings are the most suited for Music Care Certify. We're open to other kinds of settings, but this is really who it's been, or congregant living is another way of saying that. So it might be long-term care or assisted living or retirement or hospices. Potentially it could be hospitals, although that's a bit of a different beast. This is where we are wanting to get started with certifying organizations in these care settings. And, you know, how do we know you're going to be successful? What's going to predict your success? Well, think about these statements. My organization is responsive to the changing needs of care recipients and flexible in a changing environment. So your adaptability. At least 50% of staff will be excited and inspired to introduce music care. So, you know, there's ownership and creativity. We focus on quality of life, relational and person-centered care in terms of the approach. We're committed to allotting time, finances, and space for music care. That's a really, really important question, because you're going to have to actually spend some money, and you're going to have people resources if you're going to do organizational certification. Our staff relationships are cohesive and supported. This is a very team-based approach. We're committed to diversity in the voice of care recipients. This is music care is inclusive, and our people think outside of the box and are innovative. And if you have creative people on your team, in your organization, you will love this program. So if you have said yes to at least 5 of those factors for success, then your next step is to call our office and set up a discovery consultation with Tanya or Kenna. And we're actually launching Music Care Certified for organizations in the fall, but we are doing a pre-launch cohort starting in May, where we're going to give 25% off to those organizations who want to be involved in that cohort. I should say that this particular type of certification we will actually do in cohorts. So there will be 4 intakes in a year. And so, for example, if you have that discovery meeting with Tanya and Kenna and you find, oh, we really want to do this, but we can't be ready for May, but we might be able to be ready for the fall, or we might be able to be ready for, you know, the beginning of 2023. We're going to have waiting lists for those cohorts. And it's kind of like first come, first serve from that standpoint. So, you know, I just can't, again, if this is something that's really, really impressed you and you're going, man, we want to be part of that pre-launch cohort, we need to know soon as that's filling up. So I am going to stop there and ask if there's any more questions.
Yes, and Tanya has dropped her email as well into the chat for everybody. And so again, if there's a question, you can always send it in the chat to me, or you can be brave and unmute yourself and turn on your camera. And I guess maybe, Bev, I'll just maybe offer an observation through the beta before we move on to products and services, and give folks a moment to see if they have a question. But I've really, this past week, working with Seasons, which is one of the places or locations where the Certify program is, I've really been enjoying watching the staff work together to, and to bring programming, because programming was stopped in many cases, or halted or paused because of COVID. So it's been a real, there's been such an energy rush in Seasons as they are working together to work through the certification process again, and to make some planning for how they're bringing music into the care setting. But specifically, I've really enjoyed watching the residents become involved in the process. So, I know at Seasons they're starting a glee choir, and that was really influenced by input from the families and from the residents working with staff. So a highlight of Music Care Certify for Orgs for me was sort of watching the integration of residents having a voice in that process.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dawn. I'm going to move on. It doesn't look like there's questions, and I just want to make sure we get through this last one. And this is the final type of certification for products and services. And although we're not going to be launching this until 2023, we have some further testing to complete. I do really want to just spend a couple of minutes on this so you can see how these three certifications work together too, because they really are interrelated. But the gap here is all about trusting what a music product or service is, who claims they have an effect on health outcomes, if that's valid. Is it true? And so what is needed actually is a third-party validation with some quality assurance standards. And so, of course, the solution from our perspective is that Music Care Certify will do just that. And using, in this case, 3 quality drivers: evidence, access, and business practice, we will be sure that businesses can prove their claims by providing outcome evidence, access to customers and clients, and sound business practices. Now, the thing about this process is a little bit different than, hold on for a sec. I think I skipped ahead. Yeah, let me just show you this too. Here's a couple of examples of the success criteria. So for example, under evidence 1.1, the product or service has to validate, provide validation documentation around 3 customer client case studies. Around business practice, they have to show that they have a reliable delivery methodology, etc. So what the process looks like, it's a little bit different from the other 2 types because it's really not so front-end training based. But what happens here is the businesses that want certification will have to have been operating for at least 6 months to apply. So once, again, there's discovery, and once they want to certify, then they apply, submit the required validation documentation on the portal, then allow for us to evaluate, and hopefully then certifications awarded. Now, products, they only have to certify once. Once they're certified, they're done, unless they make another version or another edition or of their product. Once a product is certified, it's certified. A service, though, recertifies annually. So the grow phase for them would last for that year. And again, they have all of those benefits that Room 217 will provide there, with masterclasses and peer meetups and additional training opportunities and that sort of thing. the grow phase in all of the certifications is really meant to support those who are certified. Now, the key support tools for products and services would be the toolkits. Oops, hold on. There's one for each driver, the portal, and then of course we'll provide any kind of customer service that's needed. In terms of the benefits, well, for sure, greater customer awareness, because we're going to give you the opportunity to present your product or service at Room 217's events and within our care community network. You'll be profiled and advertising with Room 217. We'll give you feature opportunities at events, our conferences, trainings, etc. You'll be profiled in the registry. You'll gain credibility with a quality assurance seal. And this should increase your marketability and differentiation in the marketplace, thereby increasing sales potential of your product or service. So who is, like, are you ready to certify if you're a product or service? So who are you? And we've identified businesses like tech, music, technology, apps, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, products or services that have to do with music, or service providers, like for example, a music therapy business. You may want third-party validation, or community musicians who are starting their own business, perhaps going into to be entertainment or providing concerts. You want a third-party validation. So those are some of the who. And in terms of the various factors that will predict success for products and services wanting to become Music Care certified, you'll see that we've identified these 6, that there's a demand for your product, that it's accessible, that you've actually got the capital to make it to go, that you provide customer service, that there's some inclusive part to that, that there's an expertise coming with your products or service, and that there's a demand for it. Maybe I already said that. So your next step towards getting your product or service Music Care certified would be to contact our office. This will not be available until early 2023, but we get you on a waiting list so we can keep in touch with you and let you know when it's going to be ready. So I'm going to stop again and just ask if there are any questions around the products and services. Anything coming up, Dawn?
No, it seems like
it's fairly clear, I hope, how this rolls. Now, I just wanted to finish up today by showing you where the Certify registry is. So hopefully you can see the Music Care by Room 217 website. This is our homepage. And if you go into the various programs, we have these 3 program areas, and click on Certify, this will give you a walkthrough much of what we've discussed. And at the very bottom of the page, see who is Music Care certified, there's a registry. And this, can you see this? Yeah, you can see the registry with Shelley, Corey, Rhonda. So this is where we're going to hold any individual, organization, or product or service that becomes certified. And you can see how valuable this is going to be to folks who may be looking for someone who is certified, or I'm going to suggest for family members who are looking to find out which organizations are Music Care certified for their loved ones, so that they would be guaranteed a better quality of life. And I am not making that up. Already we know from our Music Care partners pre-certify research that is what's happened. As homes become more Music Care, they grow in capacity, this spreads in the community and people want to put their loved ones where music is happening. So I did want to show you that because, you know, at the moment, obviously we've only got individuals and we have a number of individuals who are in the assessment phase right now. So this will be updated probably in the next month with several more. And then we'll be able to, by the fall, we're hoping to have some organizations in the registry. And then of course in 2023, we'll start with the products and services. So I do hope that that's helpful and gives you a little bit more background into what music care certification is all about.
Great, thank you, Bev. There is one question that just came through. For individual certification, how does the qualification of a music care advocate compare with that of a music therapist?
So a music therapist is a scope of practice. It is considered a clinical designation and accreditation. And there's a body. It's different in every province. There is a national organization where you can become board certified, but then in every province you have to be regulated because it's actually a professional scope of practice. You are regulated in most provinces. I think at least half of the provinces. For example, in Ontario, you're regulated by the College of Psychotherapists. In other provinces, it might be a group of counselors that you're regulated by. So we don't provide regulation. This is not particularly a scope of practice. What it is it's a certification more in the continuing education framework. So this provides that kind of certification.
And as you mentioned, that also does provide a differentiation. You had mentioned a story, yeah, where it had helped somebody find employment. So I really want to thank you. And just one last little housekeeping. If you would like a certification of completion for attending the webinar, just send info@musiccare.org, an email requesting the certificate of completion for the webinar to get your continuing education hours. And I really want to thank you, Bev. It's such a blessing and a treat to have you come and explain, you know, this certification process, especially as it was born out of your vision. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Dawn. And why I'm so excited about this is we talk all the time about culture change. This has the potential for culture change. And, you know, we're still not, you know, as they talk about moving from the pandemic to the endemic phase of coronavirus, but we're looking, or COVID-19, but we're really looking for these pathways. And what can we do to recover the social model of care, which has become so medicalized again over these past 2 years. And I really believe strongly that this is one of those pathways that is so pleasurable. And so it's just been, you know, and I've got to say, it wasn't my idea, Certify. It was definitely, you know, a collaboration of a number of people, and certainly our board of directors really have believed that this is the direction we need to be going in terms of certification. So very excited and happy. You know, any of our team would be happy to have a further discussion, but for sure, if you want any more on the discovery in organizations, reach out to Tanya and Kenna. Thanks.
Thanks, Bev. Enjoy your afternoon, everybody. Thank you.